Well, you had the rich families, you know, the Ayers, the Barings, McPhersons, the Winters, you know, all that crowd. They were against Confederation. Anyway, everybody was in mourning here, I think, in St. John's. I think all these big rich families, and of course, you know, that spread out and encompassed probably 80% of the population because they all worked for them. Well, they're all from England. And I guess they could see the writing on the wall that they would lose their powers and their autonomy to a certain point when the Canadian influence, you know, came here and all it could bring in the way of manufacturing and goods and stuff like that. And you could see the prosperity, absolutely, in the outports. Well, it was abject poverty initially, but as Confederation, you know, persevered, they had all this free money coming in, and they weren't used to that. They could go out and buy something. They didn't have to worry about if the hens laid eggs or if the pig had a couple of young ones that they could slaughter at the winter, you know, and if the cow dried up. And you would see milk cartons, bottles of molasses instead of puncheons, even baked bread, you know, coming from Mammy's Bakery in St. John's, shipped down by the wholesalers. They lost a way of life. Now, they still worked hard. And then, of course, the unemployment insurance. That, it's necessary, I know, but it's certainly abused. Well, they didn't get up at 4 in the morning and go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, you know, with a snatch of a slice of bread and molasses and a cup of tea, or a pot of cod stew or something. They didn't put the hours in and the toil. They didn't have to till the soil. They didn't have to make sure that the potatoes and the carrots and the turnips and the cabbage were good enough and plenty enough to put into the root cellar. That kind of thing. They had lots of money to do it. They had not lots, I wouldn't say they were all millionaires, but they had certainly enough income given to them to far outstrip anything that they ever made prior to it. Now, that could make some lazy, or spend more time in the country after the moose and the birds and the rabbits and stuff like that, which I partook as best I could and as often as I could. You know, there were no roads, or it was just trains and boats to get to these fish plants. Ugh. And I got seasick on every gump on every coastal vessel that plied the waters of Newfoundland. I hate the sea. I don't even take baths, for God's sake. You know, and that's when I got introduced to the outports, and that's when I could see the results of Confederation, because they had money, $15 for each kid, and they had more than 2 and 3 kids, that crowd. And then it was 75 or something bucks a month for the old people who were living with them anyway. And in 1 month they'd make more money and have more dollars in their hands than they would have for the whole year. So that you could see improvements in everything. You'd see skidoos, and you'd see ATVs, you'd see new boats, painted houses, nicer homes. Well, we were kind of, you know, objects to be ridiculed or laughed at. I found that lots of times. I can remember a conversation. There was a fellow looking out over the harbour and standing to my left, and it was a foggy day, it wasn't too nice. And he said, "Oh God, what a hole." I said, "Where did you come from?" He said, "I'm from Moncton." I said, "You know, if Canada needed an enema, you know where they'd apply it." That's what I said to him. And he looked at me. I was 220 pounds and 6'1" at the time. He didn't say a word, he just walked away. So, but that was an awful lot of it. Oh, well, here comes the Newfie, you know. And I used to say, here, I'd introduce myself, I'm a real live Newfie. And I guess they liked on occasions to make a butt of a joke of us, you know. But we always held our own. We didn't take no back seats. So I think Smallwood's approach was bad. He only won Confederation on giving out the baby bonus and the old age pension and the unemployment insurance. That's what I wanted. I've been around the Bay when he was being, you know, looking for his 4th and 5th term before Moores beat him. My God, you got to vote for him. Sure, we're going to lose all his money. They thought he was paying off the money. That's the uneducated part of the Newfoundland, you know. And I guess that, in my mind, was too bad or sad that that's how it was won.